The San Francisco 49ers are on a 2-game winning streak, but the injuries are piling on. How long can they hold off on getting W's with all these injuries? I don't know. I think we're kind of used to, they're going to win, they're going to win, they're going to win, regardless of the circumstances. Let's talk about the impact of these injuries and how are the 49ers going to overcome it and still come out with a W against Atlanta this Sunday. We're going to get into all that and more right now on the San Francisco 49ers Morning Show. Let's go!
Intercepted. It is picked off by Eric Crocker. Over midfield, he'll run it all the way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Crop Talk TV podcast. Peace.
Welcome to another episode of the San Francisco 49ers Morning Show. I'm your host, former NFL and AFL defensive back Eric Crocker, and so far so good. No technical difficulties, so I'm excited about that. I got the right mic on, so we sounding right. Everything's looking right. I see the flames going up in the chat already. Shout out to Raphael 562. Let's go, 5 flames. Amy as usual. Good to see you in here. Let's go. All right, got JC in here. Let's go. All right, man. Everybody's ready to go. Brian, Greg, the usual suspects, man. Glad that y'all are in here. Glad that everybody's doing fine. Make sure, mental health check. Make sure everybody's mental is good and everybody's head's on straight. What do y'all do to make sure that you stay sane, right? I guess, do you talk to someone? Is there some kind of routine? And do you get all kind of weird in the head when you get out of that routine? I'm trying to think of what I do, man. And I guess maybe just talk to myself. Talking to yourself is good, right? Like, that's healthy, right? Because I think I talk to myself. Or I just run, I don't know, a bunch of different scenarios in my head and just try to figure it out. All right, but hope everybody is having a blessed morning. I am feeling good, feeling great. Get on here, talk with y'all for an hour, go work out, all that good stuff. Got a bunch of athletes to train throughout the day. Already knocked out multiple episodes of Locked On NFL Draft. Just got Locked On 49ers later. Then we got Greg Pinelli. Should be coming on tonight. We'll see after his son's game, flag football. But anyways, man, Underdog Fantasy. Of course, this show is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Promo code Crocky. I've been doing pretty good lately. We're making some money. I made $60 last night, but then I lost $30 on another one. So I guess I made $30 last night on Underdog Fantasy. I guess that's better than nothing, right? Just sitting at your couch watching football. I hit on Josh Jacobs carries, Miko Hardman's yards, and Marquez Valdez-Scantling's yards. All right, so Underdog Fantasy, promo code Crocky if you're into player props, higher lowers, don't call it over unders, higher and lowers. If you're into all that stuff, download the app right now or go to Underdog Fantasy and put in promo code Crocky, man. Let's get some money. And shoot, help me, man. Support the show and make me some money. Let's go. I wanted to come on here this morning, man, and spend a little bit of time just kind of talking about the injuries that are piling up for the 49ers. And yesterday we kind of briefly went over it, but, we were dealing with technical difficulties, so we were here, kind of all over the place. But I was talking about it with Brian Peacock last night, Locked On 49ers, and I was just like, this is a lot of injuries. And I think just the expectations for the 49ers, again, Super Bowl. And I think you just think no matter what, right? And the 49ers are on this 2-game winning streak. And I think it's easy to start just thinking your shit don't stink, right? Like, it's easy to start thinking like, oh man, like 49ers, they just win. And I think that says a lot about how people feel about the coaching staff, which I think is a terrific staff between Kyle Shanahan, D'Amico Ryans, and everybody else, right? One thing about Kyle, he is a great, not just talent evaluator of the players on the field, which, he has a lot of help with that, but I think his biggest strength is evaluating coaches. And he has coaches that put guys in positions to win. So I'm going to rattle off some of these players right now that are either banged up, injured, IR, etc., and how the 49ers are going to overcome this, all right? So we got Jimmy Ward, Emmanuel Mosley, Nick Bosa, Robbie Gould, Trent Williams, Colt McKivitz, Trey Lance, Elijah Mitchell, Eric Armstead, Javon Kinlaw. That's tough, right? Like, and I think the way I phrased it on Locked On 49ers was, I think if we were just to come on here And I don't say who the 49ers are playing against or whatnot, but I'm like, hey, you're going to go into the game and you'll be missing Jimmy Ward, Emmanuel Mosley, Nick Bosa, Robbie Gould, Trent Williams, Colt McKivitz, Trey Lance, Elijah Mitchell, Eric Armstead, Javon Kinlaw. You just rattle off those names. I think most people would probably say, that's going to be tough for the 49ers to win that game. And not only that, they are staying on the East Coast, but you got an away game in Atlanta. I'm still trying to figure out if I can make it to that game or not. All right, but that's tough, right? That's tough to overcome that much adversity, and I'm all for it. Y'all know me, man. We talk about real life on here as well. I'm all for overcoming adversity and all that, but it's like, damn. Now, again, can't use that as an excuse. I think heading into the game, this is before you lose Emmanuel Mosley, before you lose Jimmy Ward again, before you lose Nick Bosa, and we'll see if he's able to play and whatnot. But heading into the game, the 49ers were the second most injured team in the NFL. And now they got to be the most injured team. I mean, and I don't want to be all doom and gloom. I'm just trying to look at it. Ty Davis Price, I see Wavy Wonder says, Ty Davis Price, right? TDP. So many injuries to the 49ers. And you start to think like, at what point is it too much injuries? And you hope that is not too much when you play the Atlanta Falcons. And I watched a lot of the Falcons game between the Falcons and the Bucs. Their defense actually played well. Their offense kind of stinks. And Marcus Mariota just wasn't very good in that game. Now, also, I think Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a really good defense. You saw what they did to Dak Prescott. We've seen what they've done to other quarterbacks as well, kind of struggled, except for Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he just had a field day on them. All right, but just in general, Tampa Bay's defense is pretty good. So maybe that was the reason why Falcons looked as bad. But when you look at the Falcons schedule, and let me see if I can pull it up here on ESPN. Yeah, let's go to the Atlanta Falcons. Here they go. Remember when the Atlanta Falcons were in the NFC West? How did that even make sense? They're in the East Coast time zone. How were the Falcons ever in the NFC West? The whole structure of that thing was really weird. The way they reworked it, I think, is better. But remember, the Seattle Seahawks used to be in the AFC, and, oh, man, they had all kind of weird stuff going on. But let's look at the New Orleans Saints right here. I mean, not New Orleans Saints, excuse me, Atlanta Falcons. And their 3 losses, all right, came to the Saints, Rams, Buccaneers. Probably 3 teams where people are like, probably playoff teams, right? But 27-26 loss to the Saints. I mean, they lost by 1 point, lost by 4 points to the Rams, which I think they kind of came back a little bit late, but lost by 4 points to the Rams. Lost by 6 points to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they've been in kind of this weird space, not really scoring points like that. But I think when you see them on the schedule and it's like, oh, they're 2-3, I bet the Atlanta Falcons are telling themselves, hey, man, we could be 5-0. Just one play here and there go the other way, which 49ers probably say the same thing, right? One play go this way and, you're winning. But they probably are looking at it like, dude, we could be 5-0. So they're going into the game against the 49ers at home with a lot of confidence. And then you look how the 49ers are kind of beat up right now. And if you are the Atlanta Falcons, like, how do you not have a lot of confidence? Hey, let's go out there, let's execute, let's get better each week, whatever, all the cliche stuff that coaches say. I'd be saying all that to try to get this team ready. So that's the tough thing that the 49ers have going for them right now. I think all things being equal, 49ers just beat them down. But right now, and I haven't even looked at what's the over-under for this game. Let's see if I can pull it up right now. 49ers are -5.5. Money line -250. So 49ers are favorites. Again, on the road. As they better coaching. You still have good enough players. But I think right now the 49ers, Kyle Shanahan as well, just with how he's kind of called plays. And maybe the final score of this last game doesn't look quite like it, but I think he's leaned a lot on his defense to win games. And I don't know if you can go into this game with the injuries that the 49ers have and say, hey, defense, go win us the game. Hey, D'Amico, go. At some point, it's like, hey, we got to help our defense out, right? Because, again, a lot of the injuries that I'm rattling off, they're defensive players. Jimmy Ward, Emmanuel Mosley, Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead, Javon Kinlaw. Like, those are your defensive guys right there. And those are heavy hitters. Like, those are starters. Those are starters. That's tough. So when you're missing 3, 4, 5, potentially 5 out of your 11 starters on defense, potentially, how do you still say, hey, I'm going to call this game to go out there and we're just going to lean on our defense? I think this is the game where, in Al-Shire, my bad, Mike Shields, you're right. Aziz. I mean, so potentially like kind of 6 starters down there, right? It's more than half your defense. Now, luckily the 49ers have, and Alexis says, Kinlaw don't really count. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel you. I feel you, right? I feel you. And I'm probably being a little dramatic right now. I mean, obviously without Jimmy Ward, they've had the best defense. So, I mean, not saying Jimmy Ward doesn't matter, but just in the grand scheme of things, like heading into the season, you're missing one of your best players, right, on defense. So, 49ers have shown they have a lot of depth, and we'll see how much the depth can continue to hold up. But, whew, it's tough. It's tough. I think that we just keep looking at it like, oh, they're going to overcome these things. And I don't want to hit the panic button. I don't want to get anybody else riled up. But it's just like, gosh, you're missing a lot. So how do you overcome it? And I think you overcome it by offense. Y'all got to do the damn thing. And if I'm Kyle Shanahan, hey, we got to help our defense out. We got to put up points. We got to be aggressive. Jimmy, let's be on point. Can't miss our reads. Can't miss our throws. Right? Got to make sure that we're taking advantage of the opportunities given to us. You can get away with it sometimes when you have a defense that's scoring defensive touchdowns for you. When you don't have that, and maybe your defense is giving up more points than you would like, well, offense, let's go. Offense, let's go. So that's my answer to this. And I kind of went into this thinking like, all right, how are the 49ers going to beat Atlanta Falcons? Offense. Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Jimmy Garoppolo, Kyle Juszczyk. Let's go. Jeff Wilson. Let's go. Tevin Coleman. Now, right? It's crazy we can say Tevin Coleman, throw him in with those. Let's go. It's got to be the offense. And I think you look at it and everybody, 49ers got the best defense in the NFL, best defense in the NFL, right? Well, what it looks like they're potentially going into this game without, like you're kind of it's a defense with one arm tied behind their back. But I know people are just going to look at it just defense. They're great. They're missing a lot. They're missing a lot. Now, I see some people saying, who will be the cornerback? That is a great question. And we're trying to figure that out on Locked On 49ers last night, talking about it. And you look at who the 49ers have at cornerback, right? Okay, you don't got Mosley anymore. You still got Mooney Ward, of course. Now, I don't know how they're going to do this because they've been moving certain guys around. Now, Kyle did say if Jason Verrett is ready to go, he's going to be the guy. No, ready to go means in football shape, ready to play an entire game, moving well, passing all like all that stuff, right? So if Jason Verrett is the best version of himself, then it sounds like he's going to be the starter. I would assume, I don't know if you'll know that right now. So let's just kind of throw him out because we don't know, right? He's unknown. So let's look at who they do have. And I think most people would say you got 3 guys, young guys, right? Samuel Womack, Diamador Lenore, and Ambry Thomas. Now, out of those guys, let's talk about kind of how their usage has been and what we've seen from some of these guys, right? Diamador Lenore started games early last year. Ambry Thomas started games late last year. Right now, and again, I'm trying to go off the 49ers actions. When a guy has had to go out for a play or when, there's an injury or whatever, Ambry Thomas wasn't the first person to come in, right? Against the Broncos, Mooney Ward went out for a play. Samuel Womack came in and played on the outside while Diamador Lenore was in the slot. In the Panthers game, originally it was Samuel Womack coming into the slot, Diamador Lenore sliding outside after Mosley's injury. And then I think Ambry Thomas got a few snaps in there as well on the outside. So my guess is as good as y'all's. I have absolutely no idea how they're going to do this. If I had to just guess, which again, my guess is as good as yours, I would say Samuel Womack on the outside, Diamador Lenore in the slot, but it sounds like that can be easily flipped. I have no idea. Okay, Kyle said Womack for now, until January. Okay. Womack. All right. And that's going to be cool. And it's funny, right? Because you see Womack, and I think, because of his size, right? Because of his size or lack thereof, it's like, hey, Womack is a 5'9" cornerback, and I think your thoughts are just like, man, you got a 5'9" corner. Like, he's a nickel. He's a slot. Well, I think DJ Reed, who a lot of people pegged as a nickel, and he did do some nickel, some safety with the 49ers, DJ Reed just got paid $33 million to go play outside cornerback for the New York Jets. And he's actually doing pretty damn good between him and Sauce Gardner. All right. So my biggest thing has always been with the cornerback position, can you cover? And if you can cover, we're going to put you out there, right? I think Samuel Womack can cover. He's a guy that led his conference in pass breakups, always around the ball. We see what he's done with the 49ers as a nickel, but I definitely profile him as someone that could play outside as well. All right, so we're going to see. I actually like Womack more on the outside than Lenoir, and I think Lenoir is good, but I think that one step, that half a step, I think Womack has that over Lenoir, and that can be a difference right there on the vertically pushing route. So if I want to play man-to-man across the board and I want to have a single high safety with Hufanga in the box, well, I want my guys on the outside that don't need as much help running vertically with receivers. And I would lean towards Womack in that situation. All right. But I want to hear y'all thoughts on this, man. So you know what to do, man. Click the link right here. Come on live. And I want to hear your thoughts on just what are your expectations of the defense? What are your expectations of the offense? Just heading into the Atlanta Falcons game. Your thoughts on how can the 49ers kind of overcome this injury bug that has bitten them once again. All right, so there's a link right now. If you haven't already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, all that good stuff. I saw somebody earlier come into the chat and say, I'm new to this right here. Tisha Edmonds, appreciate you. Welcome. So just in case there's any other people that are new in here, this isn't, I don't want to say it's not your traditional YouTube channel show or whatever. Yeah, it is for the most part. But we try to make this more of a chill, relaxed environment. Like, this ain't about, whatever Eric Crocker says, that's what, nah, man, let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation. This is more like a radio show. I say that, where, I'll come on, I'll give my little thoughts and whatnot. But I want to hear y'all thoughts. I want to hear what y'all think about certain things going on with the 49ers right now. And I take that into consideration. You guys help me shape a lot of my thoughts as well. So, Tisha, welcome. And welcome to the family. Appreciate you. Appreciate you checking in. Yeah. Jackson, Thomas, Womack, and Gibson. Great feelings. We'll see, right? I mean, I think those are things that, how can I say this without sounding pessimistic? But yeah, I think they are great feelings. And we've seen Ambry Thomas fill in. Why haven't they gone to Ambry Thomas more, right? With how much he filled in late last year, started games for the 49ers, started playoff games. Why this year he's not the first guy up, second guy up, third guy up? You know what I'm saying? So, as much as we feel like Ambry Thomas is a great fill-in, why have they done things the way that they've done? I'm just asking questions. That's just what I think when I'm watching the games. How is it that Samuel Womack, the rookie, he's coming in before you? Diamador Lenoir, who was an afterthought late last year, he's coming in over you. So those are just thoughts that kind of go through my head. Not saying you're wrong, but thoughts that just kind of go through my head. Ambry Thomas starting off slow, says Alexis. Now, Alexis, my counter to that would be, what does starting off slow mean for a defensive back? That would be kind of my, let's say you're like Danny Gray. Danny Gray is starting off slow. And I'd be like, all right, figuring out the offense, trying to, wrap his head around it. I have heard from people that were there with the 49ers either late last year or in this preseason about how difficult it is to grasp the offense, right? So for a guy like Danny Gray, I could see how you could potentially have a slow start. But for Ambry Thomas, a cornerback who's been there now, right? This is your second year. You're not a rookie anymore. You've had the same coordinator the entire time. What is starting off slow for Ambry Thomas? What does that mean? I don't know. Got Jerome here. He says, I don't know. I haven't figured out the weird thinking of our staff has. Our staff, 49ers staff, yeah, I guess I don't know. So yeah, I guess that's a way of me saying, listen, I haven't figured them out either. There are a lot of things where I'm like, well, why'd they do this? Or why haven't they done this? Why'd they draft this guy? And a lot of times it doesn't make sense right away. But listen, I question the Aaron Banks draft pick. I did not think Aaron Banks was a fit at all for what they wanted to do. Now, for the first year, I was right, because when I came on here talking about with Aaron Banks and what it looked like, and his college film didn't look like a fit, and they didn't believe he was a fit right away either. Now he's worked his way into the starting lineup. He's actually playing very well. So guys can improve, guys can get better and start to fit more of what it is that you want to do. But I do question some of the things. Who am I to question, man? Who am I to question? Here we go. We got Medic Mike coming on. Medic Mike, good morning, man. How you doing?
Good morning, Croc. How you doing, man?
Oh, man, I'm feeling good. Feeling good.
All right. We all positivity today. It's all love. It's all good. What I expect from the offense going forward, first off, I've been critical of him, but I got to give him his props. Kyle Shanahan called his best game last game. You saw him actually mix up play action on first down. He wasn't as predictable, and we're able to convert a lot more of those third downs. So that was good. As far as our defense goes, we suffered a lot of injuries, but I don't know if Kyle Pitts will be playing for Atlanta. Irregardless, I mean, I think we have the kind of makeup to withstand a lot of our injuries, and I think hopefully Bosa will be back. They talked about just tightness in his groin. But I don't see any reason why we won't continue this momentum and steamroll over Atlanta. Hopefully, and I will give Jimmy this, he's playing with the looseness. It's kind of like a YOLO year for him, and I haven't seen that looseness from him since maybe the first year he was brought over, where he was just kind of playing free. And so I think that can also benefit him. So I hope he carries that momentum from last game over into these next few games as well.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think about the cornerback situation?
I say this, Verrett's coming back at the right time. I always thought I thought Mosley was the second best corner in the division behind Ramsey. So I think losing him does hurt. I think he hasn't given up a touchdown in 21 consecutive games or something like that.
So it's crazy. Yeah, he's been doing it.
Yeah, it's crazy. So that'll hurt. But we saw what DeMeco Ryans was able to do with Dre Kirkpatrick, Josh Norman last year with a patchwork secondary. Being that we're a lot deeper this year, we got Verrett coming back. We have Ambry Thomas with more experience. And then you also have this young kid, Samuel Womack, who honestly looks already better than Thomas. And so with Womack, Charvarius Ward's been doing his job and earning his contract. Gibson's playing great. Hufunga's playing great. I think we're going to be okay. I think we're uniquely built to handle that injury to Mosley. As much as I want him on the field and as good as he is, I think our team is built to actually withstand that. And I think DeMeco Ryans, having gone through what he went through last year, is going to be better off for it.
All right. What, I guess, adjustments, or what would your talk be to the team, to the offense heading into this game? Because I've talked about the guys that they're missing. And luckily, 49ers do have good depth along the defense. But even then, I mean, missing 5 or 6 starters is missing 5 or 6 starters. Potentially, right? We don't know what's going on with both sides. Right. Do you think that the thought process has to change a little bit in the sense of being maybe a little bit more aggressive, which I do want to give college props. I know I've talked about some of the things, put your nuts on the table, all that stuff, and he went for it on 4th down.
He did.
Last game, and I was really excited about that. And whether you get it or not, to me, it's just a mindset, and it's about having this mindset of, I talk about not saying that I'm just walking around fighting people or anything like that, but let's say if it's got to go down, right? It's got to go down. I don't care how big somebody is or, whether I'm going to win or lose or whatever, right? Like, I can't think it's just, I just got to get down. Like, that's just the thoughts. And I think like Kyle's like, you got to have that mindset, whether it's like whether you get it or you don't get it, just go into it with the utmost confidence of this is what I got to do to handle this situation. And it was really cool to see it. Again, an incomplete pass, but then they got holding away from the call, so they end up getting a first down. Like, well, look, the aggressiveness kind of paid off. And there's going to be times where it doesn't. There's going to be this give and take, but I think in the biggest of moments, you want to know that you got those stones and you've been in that situation and you've instilled that level of confidence in your players. So how do you feel about him being more aggressive on that fourth down?
Oh, 100%. I love it. I love it because, and you said it perfectly, your players feed off that. Your coach, he's willing to let his nuts hang because not only what that does is that shows he has confidence in his players. Now he puts the onus on the players. So the players like, all right, let's go out there. And, as a high level athlete, you have to have that almost absurd level of confidence. You have to believe like every time I line up, I'm better than you. The dude lining up across from me, I'm better than you. And so when your coach is willing to do that, it gives the players that confidence. All right, let's go show them what we're about. Let's go show them what we do. Another thing which I think is going to help, and this is something that I thought like Trey was going to need, and I think Jimmy's going to need, and honestly, I think anybody helps from that, is your A players playing like A players. When you look at week 1 and you had Debo fumble in the red zone, you look at last week, even though we won, you had George Kittle fumble. It's only his second lost fumble of his career. You're having missteps from some of your A players here and there. I think once you get your game day players, your ballers, your elite level players playing like that and all on the same page, the offense is going to be even better for it. And I think it will take some of the onus off Kyle, off Jimmy, off the O-line, and off the defense. And so I think once you get those A players playing like A players, which on the defense, they've been doing that, and the offense is kind of week in and week out, depending. I think that's also going to help you going into Atlanta. So I love to see the aggressiveness from Kyle. I want to see those elite A-level players playing like those A-level players. And I think if we do that, our offense is going to be rolling.
All right, Mike, man. Appreciate you coming on, bro.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me. Everybody like and subscribe.
Yeah, what he said. All right. Shout out to my guy, Medic Mike. There are a few questions I want to get to before I get to the next caller. All right, and I see Jerome here. He says, Croc, we need to work on our O-line depth. Do it like we do the D-line. And I get what you're saying, right? It's like, man, like they put a lot of resources towards that defensive line. They got a rotation of players. They have different type of players with different skill sets, and it's just a consistent wave of guys really attacking opposing quarterbacks. I would say most teams around the NFL right now would say they would love to have better offensive line depth. I think it's hard for teams just to have legit starters in general. Like that part is hard. And let alone having guys that can come in and be really good replacements. So I think right now with the offensive line, teams, just with their starters are trying to figure out how to get by, and definitely with their reserve players. Like, okay, how do we get by with Colt McKivitz, with Jalen Moore, right? Guys who aren't slated to be your starters. Because if they were that good, they'd either be starting somewhere on the offensive line, plug and play, right? Like Jalen Moore. Let's say, man, he's a legit starting left tackle, but, oh, man, you got Mike McGlinchey, you got Trent Williams. Well, all right, well, they'll figure out somewhere else to play him, whether it's at guard or, whatever, and they haven't done that. So offensive line depth, I think, is just a little bit harder to build. We got, here we go, Khalil Young. He says Lakin was ahead of Banks last season, Croc. Lakin was, but what about Daniel Brunskill? I think when they drafted, because you don't draft a guard in the second round. Like that's high. That's high to draft a guard. All right. So you typically don't draft a guard in the second round and then be like, oh well, but we got Lakin Tomlinson ahead of him. Like, no, you're drafting the guard in the second round because you are expecting him to come in and play right now. All right. And Daniel Brunskill, think about this year, right? They drafted a couple guys in the fourth round and fifth round or whatever. And, man, you got the kid out of UTSA, and he comes in and he's starting day one at right guard over Daniel Brunskill, right? Over Daniel Brunskill. So that lets you know where they just feel like day one, I don't even know why I'm blanking on his name. I got all these names going on in my head right now. But day one, the rookie right guard out of UTSA is ahead of where Aaron Banks was at the same time last year. All right. So I get what you're saying as far as Lincoln goes, but I think they were hoping Banks would be ready to play at right guard, and he wasn't. Luckily, they had Brunskill. Burford. There we go, Burford. Spencer Burford. Brunskill was injured. I don't think Brunskill was injured the entire time. Maybe I'm wrong. But was Brunskill hurt throughout all of OTAs? Was Brunskill hurt throughout all of training camp? I don't remember. I do know he got hurt at one point. I don't remember when. So y'all can. I could be wrong. All right, but I know Brunskill did get hurt. I don't remember exactly when. And was it because it feels like from what we've kind of been keeping track of when I was at training camp practice watching, Spencer Burford, he's been like the right guard for the entire time. Exactly. You make the decision based on the team, not an individual. For example, as a Kyle should ask the players, how do you feel about going for it on fourth down? That will bring chemistry. I like that, right? You look at Coach Harbaugh, and I'm talking about Harbaugh over in Baltimore, where I remember this play. I just always remember this playing against the Kansas City Chiefs, and Harbaugh asked Lamar Jackson, Lamar, you want to go for it? Lamar's like, hell yeah, let's go. And he's like, all right, we're going to go for it. They went for it, got the first down, boom, they beat them. So I do think that helps kind of bring a little bit of continuity as well. All right, a couple more things I want to get to real quick here. Crocker, stop with the swing and slap. This is a reference to the last Locked On 49ers episode. And there's this new underwear ad read. And I didn't read the ad read. It was Brian Peacock. And Peacock, and the dude's talking about some underwear that help with like a swing and slap. And I'm assuming they talking about the genitals swinging and slapping and all that type of stuff. I wear like the briefs I wear, they're like they're more like compression tights shorts or whatever. So I'm typically not swinging and slapping. Maybe if people just wear like regular boxers, which do people still wear boxers? I don't know. I haven't worn boxers since I was a little kid. But I'm not dealing with a whole lot of swinging and slapping because of the type of drawers I wear. All right. But yeah, that was funny. I don't know how Peacock read that with a straight face. I was laughing the whole time. All right, man. We got Karan on here, man. Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. How are you?
I know you come on here. We talking about swinging and slapping and all type of stuff, man.
Good. Hey, listen. A couple of things. I had a question to ask you since you've played the position. You know, everyone thinks like Verrett's going to come back and he's going to look like the old Verrett. I'm assuming there's a somewhat of a transition period that it's going to take him a little bit, or do you think that that's why they kind of slow-cated him to kind of get up to game speed? Because I remember a couple of years ago, he did come in and he looked a good 2 or 3 steps slow against the Steelers, I think.
Oh, yeah. Came in for a killer. Witherspoon. Witherspoon went down with an injury. I think he hurt his ankle. And they're like, all right, it's cool. We got Jason Verrett. And they went at him 2 straight plays, right? And one of them was a touchdown.
One of them was a touchdown.
We didn't see him again for the rest of the year.
Right.
And that was kind of the birth of Emmanuel Mosley. That was how Mosley ended up getting his opportunity. And we see what he's kind of turned into now. But in the sense of maybe potentially rushing him onto the field, you think they kind of have, what do they call it? Not aftershock, but they what do they call it when you remember like a traumatic event and it kind of makes you scared moving forward?
Yes. They've got
PTSD type thing. You think they have like PTSD from that? Like, let's not rush it with him.
Well, here's the other thing, that the lowest players on defense, last game were Lenore and Womack. And Womack only played 15 snaps. Lenore played 53. And I feel like the teams are going to adjust and they're going to attack a weakness of the 49ers. It takes a chink and they're going to scheme up how you can get those players on an island. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens because the Niners have the number 1 rushing defense. And I think that is sustainable. It'll be interesting to see when they start playing quarterbacks and receivers in a couple weeks, like Kansas City, when they play other teams that have good wide receivers, how are they going to adjust? Because I think out of all the injuries, what gave me, I was like, they match up well against the Eagles last week. I was like, they can go to Philadelphia and they can play them because they can man them up and they can, essentially make Hurd nickel and dime them to death. Now, without Mosley, it becomes a lot harder. And I think, I'm getting ahead of myself, I get it, but I'm trying to look, I'm like, okay, who are the two best teams in the NFC right now? To me, it's the Eagles and the 49ers and how they match up against each other. And I think collectively, they matched up really well. It'll be interesting to see if Verrett can get back to speed. I will say they match up well again, but I don't think it's as simple as just putting him in and he's going to be just as good as Mosley was. No.
How do you feel about the other injuries that the 49ers are dealing with? Because, defensively, it feels like a lot. And my answer to this is, you just need more from the offense, right? You have to put more on the offense, and whatever you get from the defense, awesome, great. But can you count on the defense to be what we've seen, right? Which is arguably, and I see Hefe KC say, Cowboys looking good, right? Cowboys are looking good defensively. They're getting just enough offensively, but
Cowboys are going to get a Pro Bowl, All-Pro, borderline quarterback to come back, right? Essentially. Right. So they're going to be better on offense regardless. I'm just by the sheer fact of bringing Dak back. The question I have is Kittle, are the players that haven't been performing up to their standards going to play? Because to me, Jimmy's been playing like Jimmy, that B-, B+ quarterback. If he can play in that realm, you're going to win a lot more games. The issue is going to be when they go up against Hurd, Rodgers, players that can win you and go off script. That's where they have difficulty, right? And Hurd is going to be very much off script, and the 49ers have struggled. That's why they struggle against Arizona so much. They're a defensive sound team until that quarterback breaks contain like Murray does, and then all hell breaks loose. You know what I mean? So to me, the 49ers have to start running the ball a little bit more effectively. They did against Carolina, which was a good sight. They just have to keep that up, and I think they'll be fine until they weather the storm. But to me, Mosley's the biggest injury. Their defensive line didn't look like it took a step back at all during the game. But, Bosa's a closer. And when the game's tied in Kansas City, who would you rather have than Bosa closing it out than somebody else? You know what I mean? Bosa's there to close close games out. I think he's in baseball, he's Rivera. He's going to close the game out. He's going to get a sack. He's going to get a pressure. He's going to demand a double team, and that's going to win you the game. Not on a stat sheet, but that play alone, right? And so they're going to miss Bosa, and I think they got to get Bosa right, and they got to get Verrett to play, 75% of what Mosley doing. They'll be good, and they got to get Jimmy not to turn over. I saw a stat. If Jimmy doesn't turn the ball over next week, it's the first time he's gone 3 games in a row ever in his career without turning the ball over. Wow.
And I think that's a recipe for success for the 49ers, right? Like not doing things. And it's funny, and we'll probably talk about this when I have Greg Pinelli on, but, he works a lot with Josh Allen, and so he watches Josh Allen closely. And he talks about some of the things we're seeing from Josh Allen, because I kind of came on here and I made this reference to, Josh Allen threw an interception in the end zone, and it might not have mattered because he creates all these other explosive plays. And Greg kind of started to deep dive into stats and numbers, and he's like, look, man, Josh Allen is the offense, but he has to kind of be that guy. And he's like wondering what it would look like if you have Josh Allen in the 49ers offense. Would you count on Josh Allen to put up, 350 yards passing if you have a great running game and he doesn't have to be the leading rusher? Because right now, Josh Allen is the leading rusher on Buffalo.
I live in upstate New York, so I get to go see them play like half the time. Josh Allen is their best quarterback and their best running back. And that's my biggest gripe. I'm like, not for nothing, but they need to just stop Josh Allen. And they've got teams that are stopping the run are doing very well against the Bills, and they slowed them down like Miami did, right? Because Josh, he's unaccounted for, much like the Eagles, that 11 on 11. I think Kyle was trying to do that with Trey Lance because he saw the writing on the wall, because offensively it does put you in a bind, and you can't touch these guys, right? Even if you even if they break contain and they slide, how many cheap 15-yard? We saw it in week 1 against Fields, right? You're as a defensive player, you're going 100 miles an hour. That is such a hard to let up. You know what I mean? And even if you touch them, what are you going to get? You're going to get a 15-yard flag. So Josh Allen is built to run the ball, but I also feel like they are not addressing their biggest weaknesses in the Bills. They're not a very good running team.
Right. And they're trying though, but they drafted Cook. They got Singletary. Like they got these guys, but it's just not. And I think that was Greg's point where he's like, look, Croc, you can't. Josh Allen does all that because he 100% has to. 49ers, they make it a little bit easier on their quarterbacks to not have to be that guy. So he wonders like, well, if Jimmy was asked to throw 40 times a game, would it look different? Would you see Jimmy, in a more spread, open passing game? Would he air it out more? Would he pepper teams more with passes? There might be a different version of Jimmy G that we've seen as opposed to a guy who's only throwing 25 to 30 times a game. And, man, if he makes a mistake, it's so glaring because he doesn't have more opportunities to really overcome it.
Yeah, to me, you nailed it because I think Jimmy, for whatever reason, he thinks in his mind he has the same skill set as Josh Allen. He'd much rather have it spread out because once you put him in play action, I understand he gets chunk plays, but statistically, he's not as good or he's not as comfortable. And I feel like spreading the team out and using that release is what Jimmy wants. But the problem is, and Kyle knows it, is that once you get into playoffs, teams can adjust. And it's really about running the game because what happened against Dallas? What happened against Green Bay last year? Those spread offenses typically tend to A, slow down, and B, there's a lot of things that can go wrong, right? Dropped, fumble, tip pass, right? Interception. And I feel like that goes to Kyle's conservative nature. And that I think, there's a happy medium. I think they're following it. They just got to be consistent. They got to be consistent. So, yeah.
All right. Well,
pleasure.
Good stuff, man. I appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Hold on. You had one more take. Go ahead. My bad. I cut you off.
No. That was, I was going to say, look at the line. I always look at the line that opened up at 6.5. Every day it's going down. I think it's down to almost 5 now in some spots. Yeah. So Vegas is telling you this game is going to be a lot closer than you think. And I wonder why. Either the injuries they think they can't overcome or, Atlanta's a lot better than you think. So it's interesting to see that. I watch the line because I feel like I usually judge what happens because Carolina, the line kept on going up. This is the exact opposite this week. It keeps on going down and not in the 49ers. It's already down.
I think people are looking and they're like, I think the Atlanta Falcons are like 5-0 against the spread right now.
Oh, okay. That's a good little nugget.
So that's what it is.
That's a good little nugget.
So they're like, all right, so do you want to give us 6.5 with a team that's consistently covering the spread? Take that. Yeah. And it'll probably keep going down and probably till around, maybe 4.
4, right? Yeah.
Probably stop around there.
Yeah. Again, pleasure.
All right, man. You have a good one.
Thank you.
All right. Here we go. We got Daniel Brunskill had a hamstring strain during the Packers preseason game. See, so if Brunskill had that strain during the Packers preseason game, that means, Spencer Burford was already playing over him, right? Because Burford, he's been the starter since day 1 of training camp. Brunskill was a backup. All right, here we go. We got Steven here, and he says Verrett has been healthy since training camp. He's been getting up to speed the past 4 weeks and was mainly on the IR for the roster spot. All right. I did watch him run, and I want to say maybe it was week 1, week 2. Somebody put a video out of him kind of sprinting, and he didn't look 100% with how he was running. There was like this slight gimp. Now, I could be looking into it too much. Maybe he just walks like that, or maybe he just runs like that. But it looked like I was like, damn, is this motherfucker hurt? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it looked funny, but I could be wrong. If Cooper Rush ends up beating the Eagles, then the QB controversy will be tremendous. As someone who pays a lot of attention to the Dallas Cowboys, which I do, because my brother is a diehard Dallas Cowboy fan. Diehard. And I like to watch the team to, one, talk trash to him or whatever, but two, just, okay, what are the Cowboys doing? And I'll say this. I don't think that there will be a quarterback controversy. I get it. If Cooper Rush wins this game, he will be 5-0 as a starter, right? Is that how many games? 5-0 as a starter this year? But I'm here to tell you, you watch the games, you're not saying Cooper Rush is the reason that they're winning. Now he's contributing, but he ain't Dak. He's not Dak Prescott. He won a game last week where he completed 10 passes, right? Was it 10 passes? Let's look it up real quick. All right. Let's see. Boom, boom. Yeah. He completed 10 out of 16 passes for 102 yards. And the Cowboys won 22-10. And this is no offense to Cooper Rush. I think he's doing a good job, right? Like, you're winning games. Their defense is smothering. Their defense scored a touchdown in this game, right? Then they have a sack, strip, fumble, whatever. They're getting interceptions left and right. I don't know how many interceptions the Cowboys have had. Cooper Rush is doing a good job of, hey, man, don't lose this game. And he's doing a good job of that. Cooper Rush, whatever you want to call him. There is no quarterback controversy. He is not Dak Prescott. He's not Dak Prescott. He's not. And really, the Dak Prescott disrespect is kind of wild to me. It's kind of wild. The Dak Prescott, it's kind of wild. Dak's a good quarterback. He's a good quarterback. He come back. That's his team. But anyways, man, I think that's going to do it for this episode. If y'all got any more questions, man, I'll kind of scroll through the comments for another few minutes. I appreciate everybody's in here right now. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, all that good stuff. I gave the link to call in. Feel free. J-Boog, you said something at the very end of the last stream, and I think I responded in the chat, but I don't remember exactly what you said. I would love to be able to remember. I don't remember exactly what you said, but it was at the very end of the last stream. I don't remember what it was, but I know I responded. I'm not sure if you saw my response. I think the Cooper Rush stuff, no, I'm not going to say it. Cooper Rush is doing very good for what they're asking him to do. I'll say that. Rather have a good. I'm not gonna. I've been seeing Bomber T. I've been seeing your. I don't know. They look a little. What you're saying looks a little weird, but I will say this. All right. Well, let's talk about this. Rather have a good pocket passer than a mobile QB all day, and I'll address this. That was my logic. I've talked about it before. Like my brothers and stuff, they'll tell you, like, it's like, Croc, you're racist against quarterbacks, because I'd be like, I don't want the black quarterback, man. Give me the guy that's going to stand in the pocket and deliver strikes. Like, that was what I wanted. And there's a new wave of quarterbacks coming up that they can do both. They can do both. They can stand in the pocket. They can make throws. They can make throws on the move. They put so much pressure on defenses. This is not, I mean, outside of like Lamar Jackson, you don't see like a drastic, oh man, it's a running quarterback. No, these are just quarterbacks that can run. These are quarterbacks that can move. And they're picking up free yardage. All right. So I watched Patrick Mahomes last night. And again, extreme example, but like, he ran for almost 40 yards. Well, yeah, he's just picking up free yardage. Like, that is a mobile quarterback. Just talk about Josh Allen. Josh Allen, he makes every throw from the pocket, but what else does he do? He also can get on the run. He's leading his team in rushing right now. So are you saying you would rather have a good pocket passer than Josh Allen because Josh Allen's mobile? Like that, only one mobile QB has won a Super Bowl. I mean, you talking about like Russell Wilson? Here's the tough thing. for the last 15, 20 years or whatever, Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, who are two of the greatest quarterbacks we've ever seen. And then you lump in Drew Brees with that. Like we're talking about, but Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. Let's go with them. Two of the greatest quarterbacks that we've ever seen of our generation. So when you talk about, mobile quarterbacks haven't won, well, why? Because they keep playing against those motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? But Mahomes, yeah, there we go. Mahomes won the Super Bowl, right? That's a mobile quarterback. Aaron Rodgers won the Super Bowl, mobile quarterback. I see Steve Young in there. Mobile quarterback. Like, come on, man. I start to feel some type of way, like, you know what I'm saying, when people, they start saying weird stuff like this. There we go. Yeah, he said that's a lie. Wilson, Rodgers, Mahomes. I mean, come on, man. Come on. But outside of that, like, I mean, when these guys ain't winning the Super Bowl, who's winning the Super Bowl? Well, it's Tom Brady. It's Tom Brady. It's Peyton Manning, right? Like, over the last however many years, Tom Brady stopped Wilson from winning 2 Super Bowls. Who else? Peyton Manning's defense stopped Cam Newton from winning a Super Bowl. I mean, there's been other times where it was kind of good on good. I mean, Colin Kaepernick almost won a Super Bowl. He was in the Super Bowl. Yeah, we can't do that. We can't do that. Big Ben. Early Big Ben was mobile. Early Big Ben, if you put on highlights of Big Ben in college, he looks like goddamn, I don't know, a quarterback that you think will run read option. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. When you say certain things, it starts to come off a little weird. That's all I'm gonna say. Starts to come off a little weird. Bammer T's a troll crowd. Okay, he a troll. Okay, gotcha. I got you. We gonna ignore him. We're gonna let him just do his thing. He's just gonna kind of talk to himself a little bit. Go ahead. But anyways, man, I appreciate everybody that's tuned in today. Good conversation. There's almost 300 y'all in here right now, man. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. All that good stuff, man. All that good stuff. And we should be back tonight with my guy, Greg Pinelli. I got to check in with him because last time I was like, hey, we're going to be here tonight with Greg. And then we weren't. And then he didn't come on until Friday, which I kind of did 2 different shows because I had Vish on. I had him on, and we ended up going for 2 hours. All right. People love this stat, but don't mention when black QBs got chances or when mobile QBs got chances. See, I ain't want to take it there. I'm pretty sure this is Mike, right? I didn't want to take it there, but I think you knew, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, it was coming off a little weird, right? It was coming off a little weird. But, you know what I'm saying? But yeah. Here we go. There was one other one. Good question here, Crocker. Who's best suited to fill Mosley's spot? I would go with Womack, but we'll see. Because I've seen a lot of them in the nickel. I think he's a legit guy that can play outside. But, yeah. Yeah. Croc, how long you been a Niner fan? My whole life. Been for a Niner fan my whole life. When I was about 5 years old or so we're talking about 92. I asked my mom, who's your favorite football team? She said the 49ers. I said, okay, I'm a 49er fan. So that was how I became a 49er fan. And I know he meant in. Shout out to the mullet, man. In 20 years, every QB will be mobile, probably. Like, yeah. In 20 years, every QB will be mobile. And it's just with how kids are. I mean, I got kids that I've been working with, right? I work with a kid today, 4'15". He's a quarterback, and he's not like a mobile guy like that, but we work on his speed, his agility, to where he can move, right? And he's improving on that. So I think you see that. You're going to continue to see that, where kids are really working on the mobility aspect of the game to where they could just do both. hopefully Verrett can get in shape. Hey, injury. I know, man. Injuries are tough, man. We know it's a part of the game, but it's tough. I hate the business side of it because I look at Emmanuel Mosley and it's like, man, the adversity he's had to battle through. We're talking about a guy who started off on practice squad, worked his way to active roster. First game on active roster, he like breaks his arm or his wrist, comes back. He has to, Witherspoon has to get hurt. Verrett has to get hurt. Then it's like, okay, I get an opportunity. And then since then, he's like, man, he played very well. Oh, man, he kind of banged up. Oh, man, he played very well. And this year, it's like, oh, man, he's playing great. And he's up for a contract. And, like, I think he would have gotten, like, this offseason $14 million for sure. And I don't know what it's going to look like now. That's tough. I hate the injuries. A dude argued that black quarterbacks are not discriminated in the NFL because in high school, black quarterbacks were told to run more than pass from their coaches. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't even want to get into it, but I guess we already done got into it. But, yeah. Got some weird stuff going on. Weird stuff. We'll just say that. Croc, best player you played against in high school? Oh, man. It was for sure my guy, Lavelle Hawkins. And that's my dog, too. Lavelle Hawkins was the best player I played against. And Lavelle played at Edison. They would put him at quarterback. Black quarterback, right? But he was a receiver. He was a 5-star receiver. He was the 8th receiver in the nation or something like that. He actually went from Edison High School to LSU. LSU and Nick Saban. Nick Saban was there at LSU at this time, and I think they were coming off like a national championship. And they tried to, Nick Saban was like, man, you want to play corner or whatever? Then he like, man, F this, I'm out here. So he left, went to Frisco City, got his associate's degree in 2 semesters, and then went to Cal Berkeley. He played at Cal for 3 years with and started for 3 years with Deshaun Jackson and Robert Jordan. But Lavelle, that was the best I played against. That was the best. And it was crazy how he was great at receiver. And anytime they would fall behind, because we had got up on them like 12-0, they put him at quarterback. And he'd just make hella plays at quarterback. Lavelle was the best player I've ever played against in high school. Croc, what do you think about high school defenses that play cover 3 with off coverage? I think that's fine. Can you disguise it a little bit? Right? Like, I was just working with some of my high school DBs yesterday, and I had them learning how to disguise it and show different looks. So even though, okay, it's cover 3, hey, look, you can start from press and kind of wait last minute, get out, and get to your divide rules. You can press bail out, but still read 2-1. So understanding where their eyes should be and whatnot. I think the tough thing is when you have people coaching these high school kids, and it's like, all right, you are going to, hey, cover 3, you just got deep third. And it's like, man, that's not really teaching the kid. You know what I'm saying? Okay, you got deep third, but have them read 2-1. 2 go away, then you squeeze 1. It basically turns into man. Why? Well, there's nobody else to threaten my zone. So like let's teach these kids the right way, where their eyes should be and whatnot. And then they make your defense better. Croc, best receiver you lined up against in the NFL. Oh, man. We're talking about one preseason game. We're talking about practice. I don't know. They weren't good like that. Some of the best receivers that I played against or went up against were just guys I knew. Like my boy DJ Stevens. He was one of the best receivers I've ever gone up against. Carl Moore. Carl Moore was real. He went to Florida. 6'4" receiver. Hella physical. Carl Moore. He was real. There's somebody. Oh, Stevie Johnson. Stevie Johnson was the best receiver that I ever lined up against. Stevie Johnson. That was the best. Stevie Johnson. Stevie Johnson. I got some props for NBA games tonight on Underdog Fantasy. Shout out to Crocky. Hey, man. Hey, Underdog Fantasy, you see it right there. You see the logo. Underdog Fantasy, promo code Crocky. Download the app or go to their website, underdogfantasy.com. Promo code Crocky. So if you're in the NBA NFL player props, all that good stuff, man, you know what to do. You know what to do. Download the app. Promo code Crocky, baby. Go make you some money, man. Go make you some money. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I played with Stevie Johnson. Yeah, man, Stevie Johnson. So, you know, I was listed at 6'2", but really I'm 6'1", right? And Stevie Johnson, I don't know, he's like listed at 6'2", but he's like real 6'2". I don't know, he looked like 6'3". In person, he was bigger than what I was expecting to see. Very fluid. And I don't know, man. It was like I pulled one hand away, he caught it with one hand. Perfect coverage, jump over me. I mean, nah, he was real. He was real. But all right, man, it's been a good show. Been on here for an hour. Shout out to everybody that's tuned in. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. All that good stuff. No technical difficulties today. So that's always good. That's always good. But, hold on. Adrian got a question. Here we go. Another clue. What's the best way to get my DBs to be more aggressive against the run? I think the aggressiveness comes from confidence. So even with me, who in high school, not high school, college, I was a bigger corner. Professional level, I was a bigger corner. The thing that where I really started to be more aggressive, it wasn't really even until my rookie year in the Arena League. The players around me were hella aggressive, and we had got this reputation of being like the bad boys, like the physical cornerbacks or defensive backs, right? We were physical. Well, I wasn't really physical, but I looked the part, right? You know, I had the dark visor, dreads, you know, I had the long dreads and all that. 6'2", almost 200 pounds. So it was like I looked physical, I looked the part, but I wasn't as physical as them. And I was like, man, if these dudes are doing it, I gotta be more aggressive. And that's when the aggressive mindset against the run or whatever kicked in. Now, can't be no punk. So I went running or ducking no fades on the field, right? Like I'm gonna go hit somebody. But as far as like just being an aggressive, where I'm gonna be the aggressor, it was when I got to play with aggressive cornerbacks or defensive backs as well. And that was when it like clicked, right? When you think of like Legion of Boom and how aggressive everybody was, well, it's like, man, once you kind of develop this identity, it's like everybody buys into it. And that's what I did. That's what I did. All right. Hey, I looked the part, you know what I'm saying? But I wasn't, and when I say aggressive, like I was aggressive, you know, at line of scrimmage, you know, press or whatever. I would tackle, and you know, I'd stick my head in their paws. But as far as like a real aggressive mindset where like I'm gonna take your head off, I didn't have that until like that rookie in the AFL, and it was like halfway through the year where I'm just like, man, we're the bad boys, and everybody looks at us like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, dang, I know I looked the part. Because, yo, you see me, if you were to see me pre-game, you'd be like, man, that's a big corner, right? You see me pre-game, it's like, that's a big corner, dark visor, dreads, all that stuff, grill, all, you know, tattoos everywhere, right? And it's like, man, it looked the part, and it wasn't until mid-year where it was like, okay, I actually played the part as well. But, all right, man, I appreciate everybody that's tuned in to a great episode, man. Y'all make this fun. We're going to be here same time, same place tomorrow. Hit the like button, subscribe button, all that good stuff. I know I keep telling y'all, but hey, man, we'll be back tomorrow. Until then, I'm out. Peace.
Intercepted. It is picked off by Aaron Crocker. Over midfield, he'll run it all the way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Cross Talk TV podcast. Peace.